Hi everyone, today we're going to take a look at the new Godox AD100 Pro version 2. So this is an update to their previous version, and there are some significant updates to it. And so if you have an AD100 Pro version 1, you may or may not need to upgrade to this. I'll talk about some of the advances that you can make that decision. But if you don't have an AD100 Pro right now, you definitely want to get the AD100 Pro version 2 because they didn't raise the price, and they did, like I said, add some significant updates to this flash. And full disclosure, Godox did send this unit out to me for review, but I haven't been paid or sponsored for this, and as always, you'll get my honest and fair opinion. So first, let's take a quick look at what comes inside the box. You get a really nice carry case. It's form-fitted, so everything fits in nice and snug. The instruction manual, the AD100 Pro version 2, a new battery, which I'll talk about a little later, and ubiquitous light stand adapter, a USB-C charging cable, as well as an AC plug for USB-C charging. Because you'll notice that the battery now has its own USB-C charging port. And this is really handy. I much prefer this over the separate charging base. It's just one less thing to carry or lose. All right, so let's take a quicker look at the flash itself. We'll go ahead and pop the battery in, and snaps in nice and flush. Now on the exterior, there's some very minor changes here. We now have some LED lighting here to help us see what group we're in. So it'll change colors for A, B, C, D, E, and I'll show you that a little later. This is the optical slave trigger, same here. And then on the bottom here, we have a vent here, but now this is actively cooled. So there's a little fan inside that comes on as part of the heat management system. So they've really made a big update here. So the previous flash, the version 1, was only rated from 30 to 60 full power flashes consecutively. They've almost doubled that from 60 to 100 full power flashes consecutively. So that's a really, really nice update there. Also, the battery has been updated to over 3,000 milliamps, but where we used to get, say, 390 full power flashes, we can now get closer to 490. In real life, it actually works out to about that. We also have a new display here. Display has been updated to match all of the other new updated Godox flashes. This is not a touch screen, but it's easy enough to navigate with this clickable wheel here. So I would just go into the menu, for example, and if I want to change the channel in the wireless setting, I can do so like so, and click it, and we're all set. Another update they did was to the modeling lamp. This has now gone from a 2-watt to a 5-watt modeling lamp. So, you know, brighter is always better. And of course, it's adjustable as before. And then one last significant update is actually in the wireless menu. So if we go in here, you'll notice that we have now a wireless syncing function. So it's a one-touch connect and set with any of the newer X3 Pro triggers. Now, one other tip I want to share with you is with the light stand adapter here. When it comes out of the box, the knobs are on the same side, and sometimes they can interfere with each other. So what I like to do is just take the bottom one out and just put it onto the other side like this, and problem solved. I just want to give you a quick size comparison between the AD100 Pro 2, the Godox V1, and the AD200 Pro 2. And as you can see, this is significantly smaller than either of these two flashes. But over the years, I've just sort of ignored the AD100 Pro series, whether it was the version 1, now the version 2, because I figured, you know, the V1 is almost as bright as the AD100 Pro, being at 75 watt seconds versus 100. And it's a little more versatile because I can use this both on and off camera. And then the AD200 Pro, of course, has double the light output, and also has a more modular design because I can change the flash heads on it very easily for whatever kind of shooting I'm going to be doing. So I didn't see a place for this in my workflow, but now that I've been using this for about a month now, I can see where this could easily replace, you know, the V1 when I don't need on-camera flash, and also the AD200 Pro, because most of the time when I'm out in the field, I'm rarely using on-camera flash. I'm always using this as a trigger, or I'm using a trigger here, and I'm using this flash off camera. And AD200 Pro, even though it has double the light output, I rarely set this at full power. It's very, very rare. Usually I have it at 1/16 or 1/32. A lot of times I'm even down to 1/64. And of course, the AD100 Pro can match the light output just going to, say, 1/8 and 1/16 power. I much prefer the compactness and portability of this and being able to put it into my bag very easily, because even if I fold the AD100 Pro or the V1 down, you can see it still takes up more room in my bag than the AD100. And the AD100 also has the same magnetic clipping so I can use my accessories from the V1 on the AD100. And just to demonstrate what I mean by this, form factor makes such a big difference. You know, I can just stuff one here, I can stuff a second one in here if I want to, say, versus, you know, the Godox V1, you know, it doesn't fit this way here, it's just too long, right? And if I try and do it vertically like this, now it sticks outside of the bag about 3 or 4 inches here. So I have to collapse this and carry it, say, down here, or maybe down over here, and, you know, adjust my straps. And of course, you know, the AD200 Pro definitely is not going to fit, you know, in this way in this backpack. It's going to stick out easily 4 or 5 inches in this case. So as you can see, I have this set up to carry 2 AD200 Pros this way, and it takes up this much room in my bag rather than, say, 2 AD100s like this. So I can't stress enough what a big difference this makes with virtually all the light that I would need anyway. All right, so let me give you a quick demo of how to connect the X3 Pro trigger to the AD100 Pro 2s, because that is also a new feature. So we'll just go into the wireless menu, and typically what I'll do is I'll scan first to find a clear channel. So we'll wait for that. So this will reduce the number of misfires you get because there's a lot of interference sometimes in the Wi-Fi. So I'm just going to go ahead and select something sort of in the middle here. We'll just say channel 31. And then to sync up these 2 flashes, let me go ahead and power this on. And I'll go into the wireless menu here. It's turned on, of course. And I'll go ahead and press sync here and click on the sync here. And now this is paired. So let's do the same thing with the other AD100. And I'll go ahead and go into the menu, go into the wireless menu, click on wireless sync. And you can see right now it's on channel 7. Hopefully you can see that. But it should be synced up to channel 32 now. Or I'm sorry, 31. And then all I have to do is assign these to different groups if I want, or I can have them in the same group. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll put this on group A. I'll leave this on group A. And I can change this to group C if I want, for example. And this will go up to, I think, 16 different groups, whatever it is. But there, so now this is on C, and they're also color-coded. So this is now blue, and over here is now red on 2 sides. And that matches with the red coloring and blue coloring I have here for groups A and C. So I can go ahead and turn on group A, like so. So now this TTL mode, or I can switch it to manual mode and adjust the power. And then for group C, I can turn that on. And let's go back out. And it's already in manual mode, and I can adjust things or go back into TTL mode like so. I can also adjust the zoom level control. Now this will zoom between 28 millimeters and I think it's 85 millimeters. So if I want to go to the maximum, I'll just hit 105 because you don't see 85 in here. And if I want to go to the widest, I can just click on 24 and it'll adjust the zoom range on whichever group that I'm on here. So if I want to change this back to 28 millimeters, so that I know this is on the widest, because you can see it says 28 here. Of course, also we have the modeling lamp here as well. So I can turn that on like so. And now the modeling lamp is turned on, or I can adjust the brightness as needed and turn it back off. All right, so let's take a look at how the flash performed outdoors. And basically, it was a pretty bright day with no clouds. So I used the sun as sort of a rim light for my hair and shoulders. And then I used the AD100 Pro here as a key light. And then for the settings, basically I just used TTL and I set the zoom all the way so it just focused on me to the 85 millimeters focal length. And that was it really. But the first shot I always like to take is just an ambient light shot to sort of get those settings down. And you'll see the settings here in the sample images, but here's the first shot. It's just basically, like I said, an ambient light shot. And then here is with the fill light turned on. And then I also did a high-speed sync shot. Now for the high-speed sync, I actually set the shutter to its maximum 1/8000th of a second, wide open at f1.4 and ISO 80. So the flash filled everything in very nicely, I think. And then of course, you know, I like to do pictures of my dog here. She wasn't cooperating too well today, but she did a good job otherwise. And I just used the same settings for high-speed sync because I just really like how that looked. And as you can see, 1/8000th f1.4, ISO 80, same thing here. And I wanted to get a shot of her actually looking into the camera, so I just did another one here and came out like this. I also took the flash out on some real jobs. I was able to record a little bit of me working here in the field at this event. So I'm just setting up the AD100 Pro here and looking around to figure out where I'm going to put the flash. I ended up putting up here in the corner. Now, I didn't get as much bounce area as I wanted to because there's an open door and mirrors, but I was still able to get a nice side lighting onto the stage here. And if you look here, you can see in the far right corner, that's where the AD100 Pro 2 was. And then I had two AD200s bouncing off the back walls for fill light. And overall, I think the images came out really nice. I got really nice side lighting here, as well as a nice fill light and key light from the AD200s. But like I said earlier, I didn't really need the AD200s because I had those set at like 1/16th power. And I had the AD100 set at 1/4 power. I didn't think I was actually going to like this flash very much because, you know, I have very competent flashes already, my V1s and my AD200s, but the form factor is kind of what sold me on this. It's just so compact and easy to pack into my backpack and take with me to events. So I might even pick up a couple of more of these. Now, another small thing that I didn't talk about is, you know, now that the battery has this USB-C port here, you can actually plug in a USB-C power bank while you're using the flash, so it'll continually charge the flash. Now, of course, you can drain the battery faster than it can recharge, but it'll certainly give you, you know, extended battery life in the field, which is kind of a nice little bonus that I'm not able to do with like my AD200 or even my Godox V1. Now, I'm going to be making a couple more videos on this flash, focusing more on doing, say, indoor portraits and using umbrellas and other types of light modifiers, so stay tuned and subscribe for that. If you're interested in this flash, I'll have my affiliate links down below, which helps support the channel and the work that I do here. But I hope you enjoyed this review. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.